I'll be arriving soon, I hope.
Good morning. Hello, my name's Peter Stone from CSIRO, and I look after CSIRO's work on Northern Australia. I'll just quickly take you through the work that CSIRO is doing on unlocking the development potential of Northern Australia. Northern Australia's vast landmass takes up about 3 million square kilometres. That's an area that's roughly the same size as Argentina and roughly the same size as India, or about 5 times the size of France. A significant difference is that Northern Australia is home to about 1.3 million people, Argentina home to about 44 million people, and India home to 1.3 billion people. What Northern Australia lacks in people, it makes up for in mines and cows. Northern Australia supplies about 20% of the globe's traded coal, about 50% of the world's traded iron. If Northern Australia was a country, it would be the world's 5th largest beef exporter. The people of Northern Australia are incredibly productive. They produce a gross domestic product at about twice the rate of the rest of Australians. And again, if Northern Australia was a country, it would have a GDP per capita twice that of the United States, the highest in the world, in fact, even greater than that of Luxembourg. So successive Australian governments have recognised the great productivity of the North and have sought to build on it, not by extending the existing land uses, but by looking at more intensive uses of the North's vast land and water resources, particularly via irrigated agriculture. CSIRO, where I work, has really been at the forefront of a lot of the work required to help Northern Australia consider its irrigated agricultural opportunities. So just very quickly take you through some of the work that we've been doing in the North. We recently constructed the first land suitability maps for Northern Australia. And what they show is that Northern Australia has soils that are suitable for about 16 million hectares of irrigated agriculture. So that's the green bits are the suitable bits in this figure. And before we came up with that 16 million hectare figure, people just guessed about what was possible. We've also completed the first and only accounts of water availability for Northern Australia. And what those figures show is that every year there's about 2 million gigalitres of water lands in Northern Australia. How much is 2 million gigalitres? If it was a bucket the size of a football ground, it'd be 80,000 kilometres high. Another way of looking at it is the annual flows, the 2 million gigalitres landing in Northern Australia is equivalent to about 4 times the flow of the Mississippi, Mekong or Irrawaddy river systems. So it's a fair old bit of water. Importantly, what we've found about that water resource is that 90% of it evaporates before it enters streams. And that if we seek to capture all of that remaining water, that would require about 90 dams, and it would be possible to capture enough water to irrigate about 1.5 million hectares. So there's 16 million hectares of land that's suitable for irrigated ag in Northern Australia, and water sufficient to irrigate about 1.5 million hectares, or 10% of that. So even if we pulled out all of the stops in terms of water capture in Northern Australia, it would be possible to irrigate about half of 1% of the area of Northern Australia. Now we've done the work of taking the climate information, the soils information that I mentioned, and that water information, and have actually mapped where in Northern Australia it would be possible to have how many hectares of land. So this figure shows how that 1.5 million hectares of development could be distributed. CSIRO is well known for its leading work in soils, hydrology and agriculture. We're actually in the top 1% of global performers in those fields. But what makes it really important in this area is we know that our success in those areas won't translate into development relevant information unless we bring it all together in a really systematic way and try and address the range of drivers and barriers to development that exist beyond the biophysical. And they include things like land tenure, water resource plans, farm systems, profitability and supply chains. So we know that in Northern Australia, for example, land tenure regulations make it difficult to access land for agriculture. Water resource plans are often unable to allocate water to new uses. Farm systems that are actually able to make use of the water and soils of the north in a profitable way often just don't exist. And the supply chains that can actually identify markets and get products to market often don't exist in the north. So rather than simply cataloguing those impediments and potentially drivers to development in Northern Australia, we actually undertake work to overcome those. So, for example, our work on tenure reform has identified specific legislative changes that make it easier to alter land use in Northern Australia. Our river systems models that we develop go straight to the hands of water regulators so that they can increase water allocations for consumptive use. Our work on farm development economics has actually identified the profitability thresholds that need to be overcome and met for farm systems to actually prosper in Northern Australia. And our work on supply chains has developed systems that are being used to optimise methods for transporting 95% of all of Australia's agricultural produce along road and rail networks, and are being used to identify the most efficient means of investing about $600 million in northern infrastructure. So CSIRO's integrated program of research simultaneously looks at the biophysical, the regulatory, the financial and the social elements of development, has proven highly effective in reducing the risks and increasing the opportunities for development in the north. And so has played a material role in unlocking the development potential of Northern Australia. So thanks very much for your time. If you'd like to know any more about CSIRO's work in the north, our booth is just over there, and we'll be